MS Plus acknowledges the traditional owners of the land this podcast has been recorded on, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respect to their elders, past, present and emerging.
Welcome to the Learn From Me podcast series. Reaching out for support can be a big challenge for people with MS. Today we have the pleasure of talking to Mark, who's going to share his experience with supporting mates with MS to reach out for support. Welcome, Mark.
Thanks, Kim.
Now, Mark, you've spent quite a lot of time with men in your life through bands, groups, cricket clubs, etc. What's been your experience of men supporting each other?
Depending on the situation, if it's an emotional, if it's a personal matter, you usually find men won't talk about it. You usually find men will close up. But then if it's a mate matter, if it's a sporting environment where something hasn't worked, men tend to work together a little bit more, which is sort of a contrast to how life really is. So I know when I originally got sick, my mates didn't know what to do, didn't know what to say, didn't know how to act, didn't know how to react. So yeah, it took them a while to come around and understand what I was going through, where I was at, and my thought process and what I needed. So I think, yeah, there's still some stigmatism out there, and there's still some barriers and walls with men that, hopefully as time goes by, you can break them down.
That's really interesting that you should say that people tend to relate okay around the footy and sport and dig in and help each other, but when it's matters of the heart and your diagnosis of MS, they found it quite challenging.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. And look, I think it comes down to if people haven't lived through it, if people don't have an understanding of it, they're scared of it, and they don't know what to say, what to do, and how to act. You're very unsure of what comments you need to make to someone who's just been diagnosed with something that virtually has no cure. How do you react to that? What do you say?
So in talking about some of the barriers, you mentioned the stigma, that there can be stigma in talking from the heart and from emotions. How do you get around that?
For me, because I went through a raft of emotions, where I hated the world and didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to acknowledge it. I didn't want anyone feeling sorry for me. I'd probably put up a wall myself. And it wasn't until, of all people, my boss at the time, my manager, who was really supportive of everything I was going through with the treatment and so forth, he said to me, goes, you need to go and talk to someone. You need to go and have a conversation with someone, because you are pushing people away. You're pushing, at that stage, I was pushing my staff away. And I was quite angry with the world. And it wasn't until he sat me down and opened my eyes to that I made that conscious decision to go and talk to someone. And that was probably, for me, the biggest turning point in my life, really, apart from the diagnosis of MS, but to go and actually talk to someone and have my thoughts and my emotions opened up, completely changed my outlook on not just the illness, but life in general.
And it sounds like it was a real positive step, that if your boss hadn't noticed and said to you, Mark, you need help.
Yeah.
What might have happened, do you think, if you'd been going down that road and didn't reach out for help?
Yeah, look, I think I probably would have not had a job in the first instance, because, you can't continue to treat people the way that I was at that time and sustain that. And, I pretty much shut everyone out. I was, even some of my best mates, I wasn't talking, wasn't pleasant, to be around them as well. So I think, I would have lost a lot of friends. I would have lost a lot of people that had been my friends for a long time, and people around me. So yeah, I think it was once I identified that and I went and did it. I think that's what helped. But yeah, there was some big consequences if I hadn't.
Sounds like you would have lost some mates, your
Yeah,
job, quite
yeah,
a lot there.
yeah.
Gee, so
Yeah,
very thankful to your boss for noticing it
yeah,
and encouraging you to get help.
yeah, definitely.
Mm. And after opening up, how did that feel once you finally started to tell friends and people?
Good. Yeah, it was great. And it probably started to change my mind around um, men in general and their health in general and their attitudes in general, and got me on the path to wanting to help men learn to talk, learn to come out, learn to show their emotion and talk about where they're at with things, and not be afraid to tell someone, "Hey, I'm not doing okay," and "Hey, I need some help here." So yeah, it made me really determined to start that process, and even aside from anyone with illness, it actually even changed my way at work, my whole mindset of how I interacted with people and staff, and how I managed and became a different manager after it.
In what ways do you think, Mark? In what way do you think you
More
changed
of
in
a,
your management style?
yeah, I was more of inclusive and more collaborative after all that. Previous to that, it was my way, and that's how we do it. This is the way it's going to happen. Whereas I had changed my whole philosophy around involving everyone having their say, everyone having their ideas, everyone having their feel that were part of the business or part of what we were doing. So yeah,
Mm.
changed that way at work, and then with men in general, even even around the cricket club, I was president at the time, and it changed the way I looked at the cricket club, and I looked at how we ran that cricket club, and I actually even went out and hired a new captain and coach that was really culture focused, and changing the whole culture of our cricket club around how we acted and reacted and interacted with people, to the point where during that period, we ended up with our first female cricket team that the club had ever had.
How awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, just getting out there and talking to someone just changed probably my whole life, I suppose, in the way I did things.
It sounds like you've discovered how important connecting with other people is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Which led me then to try to get a men's group going for men with MS. So um, that was a goal I had, because I noticed there was nothing really out there for men in that space with MS. So I wanted to try and get a group going where men could actually start to talk and
Mm.
talk about their feelings, and not be afraid. You're in a room with other men. Don't be afraid to talk about where you're at, where your thoughts are, where your feelings are. What support do you need? How can we help? What do we do? So
That's so great, Mark. You're a real good advertisement of the importance of opening up and tackling some of those, the stigma around being tough and not chatting about emotions, because you've seen so many benefits to doing that. And your good work is still carrying on. The group that you started's involved into a dinner group that still meet today, which is fabulous. And now we have over 3 different men's groups that meet virtually as well. So we're slowly getting there. I guess that brings me to the question, what would it mean, do you think, if we could get more men connecting? What do you think that would mean for men with MS?
I would hope that it gives them a sense of understanding that it's, especially with MS, it's not the end of the world. You can still function, you can still do things, you can still have a life, you can still be part of a club, uh, a sporting association, or you find that niche that works for you. That's what I would think you would get more out of with more men talking about it, more men being in groups. I know when I was first diagnosed, the first thing I thought of was, I'm done. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm no good. There's nothing to look forward to. Until I went to our old family doctor, and he looked at me. I handed him the piece of paper with the diagnosis, and he looked at me and he said, "Yep, so." And I went, "What do you mean, yeah, so?" And he's like, I've got patients with MS that are climbing mountains, literally. And
Fantastic. Great insight.
right. So I think if men can get into these groups and into the MS side of things and talk about these things, talk about what's available out there, and don't be afraid. Your life's not over. You're not going to be pigeonholed into not being able to do anything. There is things you can do still.
Fantastic. It sounds like, Mark, you focus on what you can do, and your doctor helped you to look at, hey, let's not look at what the worst case scenario is. In fact, there are people that live very well with MS.
Correct, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a key message, and that was one of the key messages I tried to get in the group when I first started it. Don't pigeonhole yourself into not being able to do anything. And back then, I was determined to go back to play cricket, which I did. And I'm now back into my music and doing that. Virtually nearly every weekend. And I've probably flipped the other way now where I don't slow down. So, but it's I hope that shows men and people that you can still do things. You can still be and contribute.
Absolutely. So, if you could go back in time and give yourself advice, what would it be?
Yeah, it's very good. Good question. I think don't be stubborn, and don't be scared, and don't shut yourself out. Don't be afraid to talk. Don't be afraid to go out and talk to someone. It doesn't necessarily have to be going and seeing a professional person, but just talk to someone. Talk to someone who's prepared to listen, prepared to understand, and don't be afraid to put it out there. So I think that's the message for me.
What would be your key message, Mark, as we launch into World MS Day for men out there that have just been diagnosed with MS?
Probably talk to someone. Don't be afraid, and show your emotion to people. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be worried, but it's also okay to be strong, and it's okay to show people that you have got a raft of emotions going on, as you do when you get these diagnoses. But yeah, don't be afraid. Go out and talk to people. Go out and talk to, whether it's your best mate, whether it's your partner, whether it's your boss or whoever. Talk to someone.
And sometimes that's hard for men, isn't it?
It is absolutely hard for men, but you've just got to be not afraid. Don't be afraid.
Fantastic. Great messages. And I guess the key message being, don't be a stranger, connecting with other men. Join a group, ring in and talk to someone like Mark. We have peers at MS Plus like Mark that you can speak to. We've got groups that you can link in with, various ways to connect with people with MS. Thanks so much, Mark. If you'd like to talk to someone like Mark, please don't be a stranger. Ring MS Connect on 1800 042 138. There are peers just like Mark you can connect with for a confidential conversation. Please reach out. Thank you.